Hi everybody, namaste. Okay, so I'll start now. So namaste everybody. My name is Panasthi Vora, and I am the co-founder of the Creative Toli. The Creative Toli is a one-stop Desi creative industry network for creative professionals and freelancers to collaborate and connect with their creative peers and clients and work on work projects, even passion projects, and just create as a community. You can learn more about our creative ticketers on our blog, and you can sign up free on our website to know more. So today is our last episode for the month of May, and we have a really special topic for everybody. So we have Disha Sampath with us, the founder of Motions Emotion. She is a mental health professional specializing in dance movement therapy, and she's going to tell us a lot more about this topic today and about herself. So let me just get her on. One sec. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good as well. Okay, so guys, here's Disha. So Disha, can you tell us a bit more about yourself and your journey and how you came about this topic?
Sure. So, firstly, hi everyone. Thank you for joining today on the first Insta Live. My name is Disha Sampath. I'm a mental health professional and a dance movement therapist. I've completed my Master's of Science in Dance Movement Therapy from Pratt Institute, New York. I am a member of the Indian Association of Dance Movement Therapy and licensed member of American Dance Therapy Association.
Oh, wow.
Currently, I'm working with the Volunteers Collective against their pro bono initiative for domestic violence. I'm also conducting individual sessions, of course, online. And
Right.
theme-based group sessions for whoever needs mental health support. And
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That's great. That's so cool. Right. So now we like know more about how you started and like can you tell us a bit more about why you decided to choose dance movement therapy? Like this is something so unheard of. Like I didn't know about this till I spoke to you about it. And it's so new. Like how did you find out about this? What made you choose something like this?
so as a child, I was sent to, after school, how you're sent to various classes after school.
Right.
So I was sent to art
Art
class,
class,
dance
hobby
class,
class.
tennis
Yeah.
class, swimming classes,
Oh my God, same.
and
Right.
and I even like when I was in my school, I always landed up, participating um in the field, like in the era of dance, like whether it's competition or annual day, anything, I always chose dance. And
Right.
over a period of time, I explored that dancing made me feel really safe. I felt so happy when I was dancing.
Right.
And I realized I was a totally different person when I was dancing. And like how you come in your 11th, 12th grade and you're like deciding
Right.
what career you have to
What to
choose.
do? The
Yeah,
pressure.
correct, the pressure. So I was like, I want to pursue my career in dance. And
Hmm.
psychology and human behavior always like interested me, but I never really thought of pursuing my career in that. And one of my school counselors, he came up to me and he's like, Disha, there's this course called dance movement therapy.
Oh.
And I was like, what? And I was like, this looks
Oh, so you had the same
interesting.
reaction as me then. Okay, cool. That is
Yeah,
when you first heard about it.
I was like, this sounds interesting and like, let's explore that. So I researched a little, spoke to a couple of people about it, and I think I just had it in my gut that this is what I want to do.
That is so cool. Like, I mean, that's very rare to find. You know, like people who just know, okay, this is what I have to do. That's
Yeah,
really nice. That's something I feel everyone should get at some point in
yeah.
their lives. Definitely.
True,
So,
very true.
like, so this is like, so dance movement therapy is a very niche and very new. So, like, how like, can you tell us more about it and like how it links to therapy and how exactly does it work, like,
Yes,
as a
definitely.
practice?
So let's look at it in a metaphorical level. I've tried to make this as simple for the viewers. Can you see
Oh
me as well?
wow.
Okay. So
Okay.
let's say psychotherapy as a field is rooted with psychological theory,
Right.
which has many branches to it. And one of the branches of psychotherapy is creative arts therapy. Under creative
Right.
arts therapy falls dance movement therapy, music therapy, art therapy,
Oh
drama
right.
therapy, poetry therapy, and our topic for today is dance therapy. I'm just gonna put,
Oh wow, this is such a nice drawing.
thank you.
Okay, so I hope that makes it easy for everyone viewing to understand. Like, this is a really nice idea, very innovative. I really like this
Thank
idea of
you.
the tree. Okay, so how does it link to therapy? So
So,
how
yeah.
does this practice
So
go about?
basically, dance movement therapy is the use of movement in a therapy setting to enhance the social, emotional, physical, and cognitive level of an individual. Now, the basic
Right,
principle of dance movement therapy is that your mind and your body are interconnected to one another and they are inseparable.
right, okay,
Okay. So we in a dance movement therapy session we are basically accessing the mind through the use of body.
wow, okay. So that seems kind. Okay, how does that work? So how does that happen?
So when as 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 a child, till date, to whatever your age is right now, you feel so many emotions. You feel anger, you feel happiness, you feel sadness, you feel jealous, you feel guilty, and every emotion that is out there in the universe possible.
Right,
Now, unfortunately, we are not taught to express those emotions. So, what happens to those emotions? It all gets built up and stored in the body. Like,
right,
I sometimes, like, I see when a child is crying, the caregiver will be like, don't cry, stop
hmm,
crying. If a male starts crying, we tend to say, are you a girl? Stop crying like a girl. So, because of all those stigma that lies around in our society, we are not able to express those emotions. So what
right,
happens? What happens? What happens to those emotions? It has to go somewhere, and it gets
right,
all stored in the body. So when a person engages in a dance movement therapy session, all those emotions come into consciousness and awareness, and then we are able to talk about it, process it in a therapeutic setting. Dance
right.
movement therapy is practiced in clinical settings such as hospitals or rehab centers or schools. So it has that
Hmm,
clinical aspect to it.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, so but can you give me an example like of how you said that it gets stored in the body? So is there like can you give me an example of how that happens? Like, how can
So,
one
okay,
detect or something like that? Like if
how
that's the
can what?
correct terminology. How can you tell that okay, it's stored in my body? In what way does it get stored in the body?
So, okay, now let's say I feel anger. Now,
Right,
I may react to anger differently, and you may react to anger differently. For some people, heart rate increases. Few people start sweating. Your body is communicating with you and telling you that you're getting angry, and it's getting stored in the body somewhere.
oh, that way, right? Okay, got it.
And when you engage in a dance movement therapy session, some of those emotions come into consciousness and into your
Right.
awareness.
So if I was feeling sad and it was stored in my body, and if I engaged in a dance movement session, a therapy session, I would tend to cry. Is that something that happens? So it just gets released, everything that's stored.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on really on the individual.
Right. No, but like that's a possibility of happening.
Yeah,
Something like this.
possibility.
Right. Okay.
Possibility.
Possibility. Yeah, of
Correct.
course. Okay, that's very interesting. That's something really new. Even I've learned so much today. That's really nice. So, does one like need any prior training in dance, or you just do anything, or like you have to like I don't know how does this work?
I love this question. So, so there's a vast difference between therapeutic dance and dance movement therapy. Yes, someone goes and attends a dance class, one may feel improvement in their mood, they may feel really energized. Um, but when you're engaging in a dance movement therapy session, you're able to be aware about one's feelings of how can I possibly find out my positive coping skills. And like coming back to our tree image, like it's rooted with psychological theories and psychological phenomena, like I mentioned earlier.
Right.
And yeah, like I also mentioned, like it's practiced in clinical settings such as hospitals and schools and rehab centers. So there is a clinical aspect to it. And to
Right.
answer your question, no, you don't require dance training, a professional dance training to attend a dance movement therapy session. Um, in dance movement therapy, we believe that a simple movement such as a blink of an eye or even breath for that matter is considered as movement. So all
Uh,
one needs is willingness and curiosity to engage in a dance movement
just
therapy
an
session.
open
That's
mind.
all.
Right.
Exactly.
That's
Like,
great.
yeah.
Oh, so here I was thinking, okay, should I like if is dancing like Govinda sort of considered dance movement therapy if I bust out moves like Beyonce or something like that. So does that even like help? Does any of that even count as something like this,
Could
or
you
it's
repeat the
just
question again?
so for me, I assume ki, okay, if I dance like Govinda or something, bust out some moves like Beyonce or stuff like that. So a lot of I think misconceptions or preconceptions would be, okay, you need to like dance is a certain form of style for dance movement therapy. That's what at least I feel a lot of people might have thought. So that's what I was also thinking. And so I again, you
No,
cleared
I'm
my
glad you asked this question because many people
yeah,
think like, you need to like have Govinda moves and you need to be like Beyonce and all that. But all you need is the willingness and curiosity to engage in a dance movement therapy session. Like I mentioned, even breath is
right,
considered dance movement. Like even breath is movement.
right,
And
right.
our bodies are never sitting still. Like even when you're sitting still, there are so many internal movements happening in your body. Like your blood is flowing, your heart is beating.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, all
So
of that's
yeah.
right.
So you
That's
yeah.
great. So, guys in the audience, don't be scared because again, this is not like something you need to dance for. So, guys, there's no like pre notions of dancing like Govinda or something. So, glad you cleared this up. Uh, so now coming to like the field of dance movement therapy, it is so new. And now I heard there's an Indian Association of Dance Movement Therapy as well. So how what's this growth like? What is the growth of this field now? Like, what do you see for the future of it, and how is it growing in India and in the world currently?
So definitely dance movement therapy is a niche field in India.
Right.
It's definitely upcoming, it's growing. And I want to proudly say this that in January 2020, Indian Association of Dance Movement Therapy was formed.
Wow.
It's a young association filled with passionate people in that. And all like the only vision the Indian Association of Dance Movement Therapy has is of creating awareness about dance movement therapy in India, working with the government, creating a licensure, creating ethical practice in India. And yeah, the association is currently taking membership.
Oh,
So
nice. That's so cool.
Yeah, and the best part about it is that it's not only restricted to only creative arts therapy or dance movement therapy per se. It's open to all the mental health professionals out there. So if anyone
Right.
is interested, you could like log on to their website. It's www.iadmt.org. You could follow them on,
IADMT.org.
yes.
All right.
You could also follow them on Instagram and Facebook. You could also
Right.
email them on info@iadmt.org or membership@iadmt.org.
Wow, that's nice. Okay, guys, please note this down if you all are interested. And I just want to point out, I think we had Mr. Anand Devrakonda join us for this live. Hello, welcome to this live. Thank you so much for coming. Uh, for this, he is a movie star in the South, and
Okay.
he joined our live. So that's really good. Thank you so much for coming and
Hi,
welcome. And
welcome
hope
to
you
our
enjoy
live.
this. Uh, okay, so yeah, so the next point. So you said IDMT is a young association, and it's so. Is there any sort of age group for DMT, or what? How does it work? So is there like is it all similar to like does dance therapy work similar across all ages? So for a child, for someone our parents' age or our age, is there a similar process for everything?
Um, so firstly, there are no age barriers to engage yourself in a
Right.
dance movement therapy session. Anyone of any age can participate in a dance movement therapy session.
Right.
It really depends on what the goal is set for the client or for the group. Really depends on where the client is coming from. Sometimes you may land up having a calming session with children, whereas on the other hand, you land up having a playful and a fun session with adults where there are like props all around and the adults
Oh,
are just
wow.
enjoying themselves, connecting to their childhood, and there's so much of play involved with that. So like there is no like set rules for it. It really depends on the client and where the client is coming from.
Right. Okay. So there's no like specific method to each person. Okay.
each
That's
each
really
dance
nice.
movement therapy session looks different every time, but
Oh, wow.
mostly we start in a circle in a traditional dance movement therapy session, and then kind of we slowly gazing where the clients are and where they are at. Maybe we
So
might
just
break the
like going
circle
with the
and
flow and just seeing how it
correct,
goes.
correct.
Right. That's
And
really
like
nice.
just
Very
trusting the
open.
process, of what's happening around me, even if it's individual or group.
Right. So is there any time limit or it's just like, just do what you want? It's like a 1 hour thing. Is there something like that that
I
you
mean,
have? Or?
individual sessions, I want to say, are mostly between 45 minutes to 1 hour.
Right.
And group, again, really depends. Like, is it a workshop? Is it, like, where is the dance movement therapy session happening? Is it happening in a hospital? Because the patients sometimes have a particular schedule. So in that schedule, we have to kind of fit in.
Right. Okay. So it's very flexible
Correct.
in a way. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
But
very
I think
nice.
but it is about minimum is 30 minutes.
Right. Okay. Minimum 30 minutes. So, I'm sorry, I'm referring to a few questions because this is a very new topic. So for me to
Please go ahead.
sort of remember everything. Okay. So in your opinion, mental health is a very hush-hush discussion, and you know, why is how can we help people discuss better and get better guidance from counselors and psychologists? So how does that help? So like for people to open up and even as a creative person, everyone has creative egos, and people usually tend to hold it back or hold it in as like as you said, we keep it inside, we bury it in our bodies. So even aside from doing a dance movement therapy session, there's we had this discussion in our first live session about having a support network. So how important is this even in like your sort of dance movement area? Like if you do it in a group, or is that also something that works, or is it important to have like a support network?
I think support network is something not just focusing on dance movement therapy, but it's related to every field, I guess.
Right.
Why mental health is such a hush hush is I feel that unfortunately there still lies the stigma around mental health in our society. If you go to a therapist, you will be like, "Are you crazy?" People will
Right.
think you're crazy. So even if someone who wants to go to a mental health professional and seek help, there's always that fear, maybe fear of like, will I be accepted in my family? Will I be accepted in my school or college? Will I be accepted at my workplace? Will I be accepted with my peer group? And in general in society, like
That's
if I
societal
go,
fear. Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
So even if someone wants to go seek help, because of the stigma that lies that if मैं therapist के पास जाऊंगा तो मेरे को सब पागल समझेंगे.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is one of the reason. Second, I feel not just creative people but humans in general tend to have this denial phase of like, I'm okay. What is wrong with me? मेरे
Right.
को कुछ भी नहीं हुआ.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah. The denial is always sort of there. Like, okay, yeah, why should I
Correct.
go to someone? Or why should
Correct.
I see a mental health professional? Right.
Yeah, like I don't need help. I'm perfectly okay.
Right.
And I think the first step towards your mental health, if anyone can take, would be noticing and being aware that, okay, I'm not feeling okay. That is awareness.
Right.
And the second step would be acceptance. Okay, I'm not feeling okay, and I think I need to take help.
Right.
And opening
Yeah.
up to someone takes, I think, would be the next step. And like opening up to someone who you trust and sharing with them that this is what is happening with me. I don't feel okay.
Right.
And I don't feel okay. And sort of telling them of how you're actually feeling.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel it takes immense strength and courage to open up to someone, show them your scar, talk to them about your deepest emotion and something that is bothering you.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's important to acknowledge that even when you kind of like open up to someone, even if it's not a mental health professional or someone who you trust,
Just a friend or family
yeah,
member,
even if
anyone.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, even if you're opening up to them, I think it's really important to acknowledge that because it's not easy to talk about your emotions. It's not easy to kind of share something that you're really, that something is really bothering you. And I think the basic principle of mental health is you have fever, you go to a doctor. You do not feel
Yeah.
okay, you go to a mental health therapist. You go,
Yeah. It's as easy as that.
yeah, you go see a mental health professional. Like I don't know how else can I make it very
I
clear.
think you put it perfectly. Like it's so simple. Like it's you feel unwell, you should go to a doctor. If you're feeling mentally unwell, just go to a mental health professional. That's as
Correct.
simple as that. That's perfect. Like yeah, I couldn't have said it. Like you couldn't have said it in a better way. No one could have. Really good. So now after like we've understood how this process works, how sort of the kind of people that can do it, and which is everybody, and how these sessions work. So can you give us a few hypothetical scenarios in which dance movement therapy has helped, can help somebody in suffering through anxiety or depression or something like that?
So yes, definitely dance movement therapy does cater to mental health challenges like anxiety, depression, someone who's suffering from trauma. It does kind of cater to that, definitely, by using the body mind connection intervention.
Mm, right.
Because of all these feelings that are stored down deep somewhere in the body, the healing takes place on a bodily level.
Right.
So, like I mentioned, like there's no like set rule of how the dance movement therapy session looks like. Um, all like sometimes people want to engage in a dance movement therapy session to increase their awareness about the self,
Mm.
to feel connected to their inner self, uh, to become aware about the body mind connection. So it's not necessary that you need to have a mental health challenge to engage in a dance movement therapy session.
Right.
Really kind of increasing your awareness, exploring yourself, understanding how the body mind connection works, and yeah.
Oh, okay. And I remember you mentioned something about props earlier. So what kind of props are these, and like how do they play a part in a session, in a hypothetical session?
So it really depends again.
Hmm.
Um, is the prop initiated by the therapist, depending on what the goal is? Um, does the client willingly ask for a prop? Um, like there have been sessions where sometimes the group wants to just take a prop, and it could be a scarf, or it could be a ball, or it could be a paper plate, and like kind of exploring and of okay, the use of paper plate is of eating, but how can we kind of like creatively use it with our bodies? It could be using it
Oh,
as a
okay.
hat, or using it like your fan. So really
Oh,
kind of finding your creative expression, your self-expression of how your body is feeling safe to do that. And maybe sometimes there is memories associated with props that come into consciousness, and then we kind of process it together, depending whether it's a group session or an individual session.
right, right. Okay, that's really interesting. So basically, again, the prop can vary according to the session, according to what is happening during that time. So
Yeah,
I
I
think
did
that
my
that's
research
really.
in props, so I really
Oh
like working
wow,
with props.
oh wow, that's really cool. There's so much that we don't know
Yeah.
about it. I'm really
Also, like
glad we've
props,
learned so
eh,
much.
correct, and also like
Amazing.
props has this um effect of being tactile.
Hmm.
Some props have sound.
Right.
So it
Okay.
really kind of activates and triggers the neurotransmitters in the brain.
Okay.
The
Interesting. So
fabric
maybe
of the scarf.
like a drum, like a small drum, or like those sort of metal, like something, a spoon or something, could be counted as a prop.
Anything can be used as a prop. There are specific dance movement therapy props that are there
Right.
for depending on group or individual. There are balloons, there's scarves, there's octoband, there's parachutes, there's spear ball.
Oh,
Like there are so
oh
many things.
wow.
There are musical instruments which kind of like make noise.
Right. Wow. That's really nice. So as a so as now that we mentioned so much about how a session goes, and accepting and sort of understanding when you're not okay, and that whole area of not being in denial basically. So can you show us few tips or techniques that we could try at home, something that could help? Because again, in these times, we can't really meet people now, and we obviously do have a Zoom classes, but just for people to just sort of sometimes have just when they don't feel okay, are there any tips or tricks that people can practice at home, just something small that you could show us or tell us that could help us?
I mean, if you're asking a dance movement therapist for a tip, the first tip I think would be kind of just putting on the music of your choice and really moving the way your body wants to be moved. Just
Right,
follow your
right.
body impulses and listen to your body. It's communicating to you always. So just move to your body
Oh,
impulses. I
Right.
mentioned, there are
Okay.
no right or wrong movements in dance movement therapy. Even breath is considered as
Hmm.
movement. So yeah, I think my first step would be that of kind of just
So maybe those
moving the
Govinda
way
songs can work, and then
anything,
you can.
anything, and like just kind of it could be instrumental music and like really kind of seeing of how your body wants to move. And like sometimes when I practice that, I feel like okay, I'm going to move my hand now, but I'll end up moving my leg.
Right. Okay.
So you know,
Okay.
like
So it's
when
very
you,
unpredictable.
yeah, like when you start listening to your body,
Hmm.
it'll kind of show you all magic which even you were not aware about it.
That's really nice. So I sort of can relate in a way. So whenever sometimes if I feel like painting and I just put on any kind of music and I just sort of let go. So whatever the music wants me to do, it sort of just pours out on me on the canvas or paper wherever I'm working. I feel like that's very similar to dance movement therapy, and I guess that's in a
And
way
how
art
does that
therapy.
make you feel when you
Really
sort of do
cathartic. Like
that?
it just feels really nice to like let go of whatever you're feeling at that point. It's just out on something else. So it's not in my body or in my brain anymore. So I feel this is very relatable, and I can guarantee that this works because I have done this as well. So this is really nice. So
um,
anything else?
yeah, I think the second thing that I think I'll invite everyone to do is kind of like just focus on their breath.
Hmm.
Breath is such a powerful element that our body has. Um, just placing one hand on your heart and the other hand on your belly and just kind of focusing on your breath really helps. Uh, yeah, and just being attuned with your breath and kind of just going with that really calms you down. It helps
Right.
me help
Okay.
others. Um, feeling connected with your body in which you feel safe. It could be
Right.
yoga, it could be taking a dance class, it could be going for a walk, anything.
Something that engages your body,
Something
basically.
connect that makes you feel that you're connected to your body or
Hmm.
you're engaging yourself in a body movement.
So can that include playing an instrument or, just sort of doing some exercise? All of that is basically that, where you're engaging your body into it.
Yeah, like, but actually,
Even
I will
cooking.
divide. Yeah, like everyone has their way of self-expression. Like, there's no right or wrong in that.
Right,
Like, I may feel safe in expressing through movement, whereas you might feel
right.
safe in expressing through art. Like, it's so subjective.
Hmm, hmm,
So, really kind
right.
of navigating and accessing of how do you
Oh,
feel safe and grounded? What is your
hmm.
self-expression?
So yeah, right. So people can,
And
sort of find that for themselves
correct.
and
And
practice that more. Right.
correct. And I think beyond that, like sometimes you just need the connection of people. Like right now we are
Hmm.
lacking the
Yeah.
physical presence and that missing that physical space of being around each other. But you can always connect with your friends or family by video calling them if that's something
Yeah.
that you like and if that's the way your self care looks like.
Yeah. So it's just like staying
Yeah,
in
just
touch with
whatever
whoever
works.
makes you feel safe and
Correct.
whoever you want to talk to sort of let out whatever you want, stuff like that, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And beyond that, like, if you feel like you need professional help, I know a lot of therapists who are taking online sessions right now. Reach out to them. There's
Right.
no
So that's
shame in
really
taking
that's really
help.
great. Yeah, so guys, if you want, you can reach out to Disha on DM if you all need any sort of recommendations for mental health professionals. So I'm sure she'll be really glad to help out. And so another sort of question was, is music a very important part of DMT?
Interesting question. Um, I want to say yes. Sometimes there is music. We take help from music because that is initiating the movement.
Right.
um, One of the dance movement therapists told me that music is also considered as a prop because That is
Oh,
something that is initiating the movement in an individual.
right.
But sometimes you are creating music with your body. It could be snapping, or it could be
Oh,
tapping
right.
your thighs.
Right.
It could be clapping.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah, and sometimes there's no music, but there's just people want to talk, and we are just processing things, still like moving our bodies, and there's no music.
Right. Okay. Wow. So that's very subjective again to like
Again,
the session. Right. Okay. So that's nice to know. So the tips I think are really effective and really nice and simple. I think that everybody can practice at home. And we have a lot of creative viewership because we are catering to all sorts of creative industries. And is there any sort of advice you would like to share or something motivating you would like to say to our viewers? Something to keep that
um,
sort of going.
I want to say, I want to invite everyone, like focusing on our current times that all of us are in this unusual situation. I'm going to invite you all to really take care of your physical and mental health. Um, you're not alone in this. You're all together with you. Um,
Yeah, I think
setting
that's
a
really important.
routine. Correct. All of us are in this together. No one is
Yeah,
alone. So yeah, and like I've seen, like, people are like baking and cooking and posting pictures, and one might feel like I'm not being that productive right now during lockdown, and I think it's okay. It's not a
right.
productivity contest, and like
Hmm.
really going slow with yourself, and like not being too harsh on yourself, saying like what am I doing? Like I'm not doing anything. Like I
Right. So
think just
like don't put pressure. Just take
correct.
one
Just
day as it
take
goes.
one day at
Comes.
a time. Yeah, setting a routine may help of like how is my next day going to look like. Setting a goal may help.
Right.
Um, and like really, like, you don't have to struggle in silence. And if you still feel like you need to really like seek help, reach out to a mental health professional. There's no harm in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Totally.
And yeah,
Especially
I think I
now, I
just
feel like it's a lot of people may need that help. So I think it's really great that so many mental health professionals are actually spending the time in doing online consultations and sessions with the clients. It's really, really nice.
so yeah, I think I just want to end. What I want to say is like lines from the poem called Wild Geese by Mary Oliver.
Oh, nice.
She starts the poem, and I'm just going to read the first four lines that she says. She says, "You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves." And I'm
Wow.
adding to that, feel what it feels.
Right. That's so beautiful.
I'll
Thank you so
repeat
much
it
for that.
again if
Of
required.
course, of course.
You don't have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. And I'm adding to it, feel what it feels.
That's really, really nice. I hope everybody sort of imbibes these words and understands what you're trying to say. This is really nice. So I think we have another 7 to 10 minutes for some questions by the viewers. Do you
Sure.
guys have anything I want to ask Tisha? Any sort of doubts? Anything I may have missed out? Please go ahead and ask your questions. So then we can answer them. We can wait for another minute, I guess.
I think they're just kind of processing of with so much information
Yeah,
that
just taking all the information in
embedding
right
it
now.
in their body.
Yeah. Okay, so till people give questions, I have one other question that I sort of wanted to ask. So, as you said, the treatment, or I mean, not even treatment, I mean, each session for every age group is different. But does every age group also respond differently to it? Is that something that happens? So,
Yes.
oh, okay.
Like, really looking at what the mental health challenge they are having, where is the client coming from, how is their upbringing kind of, do they have support of the family, and really depending on the individual.
Hmm.
If you're working with a child, you need to kind of understand, like, does he or she have any mental health challenge, or it could be something like working on lower self-esteem.
Hmm.
I'm really focusing on, like, why is that happening?
Right.
Seeking kind of understanding of, does the child have enough family support? Yeah. So
Okay. I think that was really nice to know. Uh, yeah, that's quite a nice, like, like a nice sort of insight into this whole session. And I think people are still processing a lot of information, or maybe they're just dancing to Govinda songs now that I've mentioned it like 3 times. So, so I think we can sort of say goodbye. But I would like to conclude today since this is our last episode of this month. I have a slightly longer conclusion. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody and to you, Disha, especially for coming and teaching us about DMT. I am really sort of it's opened my mind into a lot of different things, and I'm sure it's opened up everyone in the audience's minds, and just sort of learned about something new. Um, so everybody in the audience, I can get in touch with Disha at Motions Emotion on Instagram, and she is also taking sort of private classes on Zoom for families and groups. I mean, you can coordinate
honestly,
with her.
it's not a dance class
No, it's not
session.
a class. Did I say dance class? Oh,
You
sorry.
said
No,
private
I
class.
didn't. Private sessions, right? So she's also doing private sessions, consultations with families, friends, groups. I think you can like figure out the details with her. And she also knows a lot of other mental health professionals, so you guys can also get in touch with her for that if anybody thinks they want to do that. I'm really sorry for my mistake. Uh, so yeah, guys, you can also, so coming back to Creator Totally, you guys can sign up on our website for free to connect, collaborate, and get to know people like Disha and sort of just learn about different things and learn from new people. Uh, we also have we hope this session has helped a lot of our viewers, and we hope you guys have sort of learned a lot from us in this whole month, as it was Mental Health Awareness Month, the month of May. And yeah, go mental health.
Go mental health.
and and also a hashtag ye bhi zaruri hai, which translates to this is also needed. And we wanted to highlight such issues, which is why all of our talks this month have catered to a lot of mental health professionals and even just people who have these topics that they want to share. And it started with Havovi Hyderabad wala, and and she gave us a very insightful session on mental health through Mind Mandala, which is a company. She is also a practicing psychologist, and we got then after that we had as some a really different architect, Saurabh Matre, who I think I was wowed by that session. There were some really interesting concepts that we got to know, and he spoke about how these times and how architecture and spaces, our environment can play a big part in our mental health, which was really cool and different. And after that, we had a really nice workshop by my mother on just doodling, and she brought everybody back to the childhood. And how we used to doodle in our school books, and it was a really interactive and really nice session with her as well. And this Friday, we had May Thomas, who is the host of a podcast called Made in India, and she sort of is giving a huge platform to upcoming and known indie independent music, and she's giving like a really nice platform for them to like be heard and be known and getting their stories out into the world. And she also spoke about like how to keep your creativity alive. And of course we had Disha today, and for an amazing insight into dance movement therapy. So the underlying theme for all of this was to address mental health and how people need to have the strength and support network, and just the sort of acceptance, and we wanted to remove all the stigma that people have towards mental health, and wanted to also specify it towards creative people, because as Hamovi mentioned in our first session, creative people sort of carry their hearts on their sleeves, and we always are ready with any kind of emotion, so we wanted to sort of help everyone going through any sort of issues or even just anything, in these times, because it's clearly different for everyone and it's all very subjective. So we thought that we should sort of use this platform to do some good and introspection and sort of help everybody. Um, and thank you so much to everyone who's been viewing our lives. We've got so much support that we are actually doing a full month of June session with a completely different theme, which is passion, and it's called Junoon. Oops, it's Junoon. So yeah, guys. So we have an amazing lineup lined up for everybody. We have people coming from the film industry. We have musicians. We have a chef, and we have like some really, really, really interesting and cool stuff. And we get to hear everyone's stories about passion and how they sort of got into their industries. And yeah, it's going to be a really fun month. So guys, please follow us and get updates on every time we go live. And
Sounds
do
really
stay tuned for
interesting.
Junoon. Yeah, Junoon in the month of June. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in a few days. Our first session is on 3rd June. And yeah, we'll reveal who it is very soon. So stay in touch and hope you guys are well. Namaste. And yeah, any last
Namaste.
words,
Thank you for
Disha?
being there.
All right.
I just want to thank everyone for viewing and staying with us till the end. If you have any
Yeah,
questions, feel free to reach out to
feel free to
me.
get in touch with
Follow
us
my
or with
Instagram
Disha.
page, follow the Creative Toli, and
Thank
hope
you
to
so much.
connect with you virtually soon.
Yes, yes, definitely. Oh my God, yeah. Let's just hope all of this gets done soon and we all get to sort of be all strong and meet soon. So yeah, hashtag Junoon guys for the next month. And ye bhi zaruri hai. Mental health is important and help is always around. Please don't forget that. Right? Okay then.
Okay, bye.
Bye.